Hello. Well, I'm very excited to be here today to talk about moving 3D commerce from hype to reality. So, being in the immersive tech space, a lot of my friends and colleagues have gleefully sent me the headlines that the metaverse is dead, long live the metaverse. And actually, I believe it's right in one regard, because I think the way we've been thinking about immersive technology, I don't even like the term the metaverse, is really not the right direction to go in. So I really think about it as a spectrum of reality, right? So you have IRL on the one end of the spectrum, you have virtual reality on the other end of the spectrum, you're in a headset, you're fully immersed, you cannot see your surroundings. We are going to laugh at pictures of ourselves with these white bricks on our faces in the future. And then augmented reality, which is, very accessible now through mobile. But where it really gets interesting is in the middle, right? In this mixed reality world. Or are any of you been, excited about the Vision Pro, Apple Vision Pro coming out, and spatial computing? The difference here is that it gives kind of a contextual component, right? Augmented reality is just a digital overlay, right? But when you get into spatial computing and you get into that mixed reality, it means the digital object has context to the real world and has spatial awareness. It understands where it is in the world. So if I have a digital ball and I put it on a real table and it falls off, it'll bounce, right? So it behaves the way it would in the real world. So then the next element beyond immersive computing that brands need to think about is blockchain technology, and then the subset of that, cryptocurrency. And then, of course, AI is the new favorite child, has unseated the metaverse from the hype cycle. And then moving from Web 2 to Web 3, Web 3, kind of being marked by this decentralized construct around identity, games, and the creator economy. But the reality is most companies are going to sit somewhere in Web 2.5. So you're going to have your kind of centralized lane, at least for the short term. But it is really important to start thinking about how to move your relationship with your customers to Web 3, because we know how important direct-to-consumer is. There's even a term now, direct-to-avatar. But, this is a new way to develop a much more significant relationship with your customers. But a lot of brands get stuck in technology jail. They're so focused on the tech. We need to be in the metaverse. How are we using AI? Do we need to accept crypto payments? But really, you need to think about this landscape of technology as a convergence, right? You need to take a step back. You need to look at, what are the products and services of the future? What is your relationship to the consumer? What is your company culture in the future? And then you use a combination of all of these technologies to pave that path forward. And the reality is even, the metaverse, all of this technology relative to this digital landscape is still in its infancy. Like, we are literally flying the plane as we build it. And so the net is don't focus on the tech. Focus on the experience. So that's Nike, who have really one of the best sort of end-to-end strategies. And they're in a unique position because their demographic is, 6 to 100. But they're doing some great things, and they really have embraced Web3 through their acquisition of Artifact. So, when you think about the possibilities, the world is going to become our screen. Data and experiences are going to be invisible layers living all around us. So, the good news is, for me, that instead of ignoring me at the dinner table by having their faces in their phones, in the very near future with a wearable, my kids are going to be able to ignore me by looking directly at me, because the latest episode of Black Mirror is going to be floating over my head. That's progress. So the other thing to really think about is art, entertainment, and games, social media, and fashion are all colliding. And so how does your brand fit in to this new landscape? And it's not about just putting up billboards, dropping NFTs, doing influencer marketing. It's about fitting into this new landscape seamlessly. There are much better models out there that we need to think about.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich. Throw that to the side. This right here is astronomical. I see you picked up all my words. I feel responsible. You feel me?
So that was Travis Scott in Fortnite a couple of years ago. And, I think one of the mistakes and the reason that, the metaverse is dead, we're in, this sort of NFT winter partially, is because we've had this economics first approach to everything. Like, how can we add more money to the bottom line? And, that experience drew 12.5 million concurrent viewers in game. And since then, over 27 million have viewed the experience in-game, over 100 million on sort of 2D platforms like YouTube. So trust me, the economics are there. The profit is there. What we need to focus on are what are the different models and what is this new relationship that we're going to have with consumers. So who's gone all in? We already talked about Nike. You've got LVMH. Gucci did actually a very cool experience. JP Morgan has got a financial services office in the metaverse. That's on the bottom right is Barbados Embassy. You can get your visa for Barbados. There's The Voice, Metropolitan Museum of Art, many, many brands. Steve Aoki has built a very cool world. Absolute Vodka did a dance battle. Drink a bunch of vodka, put on a headset, dance around in your living room. What could go wrong? It was great. Actually, it's a great experience. I'm just making fun. So if you look at the middle three, Fortnite and Roblox really is where the people are now, right? Roblox has over 50 million unique active users. Fortnite as well. Meta has got their kind of closed environment, but all three of them are closed environments, right? You don't really own the digital assets you have there. Then you've got Decentraland and Sandbox. So this is that move into Web3. These are similar platforms. They have some creator tools. You can build these great environments with the difference that, the customers and players, if you build an environment and they buy your NFT or they buy one of your digital assets, they own it. And these companies are at the forefront now of building the interoperable standards to allow you to move those assets from world to world. And this is much better for consumers. So this is something you can get in front of now. And then if you want to look at the economics, Second Life is arguably the best example, right? It was arguably also the very first metaverse. It was launched in 2003, 20 years old. At its height, it had a $500 million market cap, right? So we can use that as an example of what they did right. This was all in exchanges of digital assets and digital goods, pre-crypto, by the way. So if you don't have a 3D strategy, not saying it's too late, but you do need to start now. So start where your customers are. It's very easy to bring AR into your store. What I lovingly refer to as the interwebs. You are going to need to have 3D models of all of your physical goods, right? And you're going to need a digital asset management system. And then on mobile, right? They're on mobile. There are a lot of platforms also that can help you do virtual try-on. So there's a lot of ways now today on mobile using augmented reality to engage that customer. And that direct-to-consumer channel starts to become much tighter, right? How do you engage them between home and your store, and then even out there in the world, right? And don't forget that digital goods are real. There are billions of dollars being spent right now on skins and digital assets in games, and we are going to spend a lot of money on how we look in these immersive environments. So those are amazing. That's the Fabricant. There's also DressX. Co-creating with curated designers. But we're going to start to see this shift where there are tools for all creators to be able to build these amazing digital fashions, right, that are not, constrained by the physical world. And so once you start to develop that 3D strategy and build a fluency with the technology, now you really can start to create a journey, right? Have the AR experiences moving from your stores just out into the world, right? And engage your customers everywhere that they are. Very simple. This is a very simple experience, accessible by mobile. And this is one that actually Pepsi did in the UK a couple of years back. That is engagement right there. So let's put the elements together. So develop your near-term strategy, right? Create a 3D asset library, leverage AR in-store and in-app, build a fluency with the technology. Then bring the future forward, right? How will your brand evolve, make an impact, and connect with customers, and how will you build community? And then create a new model, right? Reinvent your business models, embrace transparency. Ask your customers nicely for their data. Then offer them amazing value. And not just in cryptocurrency and buying it, that's a 1.0 way of thinking about it. But take them on a product journey, right? With these 3D assets, you can append a whole story to it. This is where you start to see NFTs really emerge again with an incredible value around storytelling and engagement. And color all your efforts with a humanity-first approach. Because the next generation consumer cares about who you are as a company and what you stand for. Don't be afraid to start with a blank canvas, right? You can reinvent the way you think about how you engage with your customer, not in the traditional ad sense. So co-creation is going to be a benchmark in this new realm. We've already seen a lot of this happening. These are two that I actually really like. But community co-creation. This is Grimes. No, this isn't a 3D asset, but she actually released her voice on a platform that has a smart contract baked in. So if anyone in her community wants to create a song using her voice, and she just asked nicely and said, don't be a jerk, and put something out there that's really obscene, and then you put that out there, then you guys split the royalties with Grimes. Right? So it's a fundamental mindset shift. We're so worried about putting guardrails on the brand and putting it out there and our IP and owning everything. But with a little bit of a mindset shift, invite your community to co-create with you. And you can manage where that starts, but allow them not only to participate in the co-creation, but to participate in the economics of it. Right? This is where the new business models come in. Think about offering creator tools. Nike's been doing this for years. I promise I don't work for Nike. I just love what they're doing. To allow people to customize their kicks. And add value. Right? Give your users a journey. And transparency. Who are you? Where are you sourcing your materials? How are you manufacturing them? How are you moving them around the planet? And what are you doing to make the planet a better place? And that community, instead of hiring individual influencers, make everyone in your community an influencer. So it's close to the holidays, so I'm going to leave you with one last video here. And my favorite quote that I co-created with Alan Kay, the best way to predict the future is to co-create it. Thank you for staying till the bitter end with me.